Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we continue with the story of Lythieuca and the people around her. In the previous episode, as you all know, after days of exhaustion and worry, Ly finally regained her strength. Her complexion turned rosy, and she began to recover step by step. But before that joy could be complete, a shocking secret was revealed by Officer Hung to his younger sister, Tieu. It was a truth that neither Hung nor Tieu had known for the past 20 years. The woman they had always called mother was, in fact, only their stepmother. Their biological mother had left when they were still very young, leaving behind an irreplaceable void in their childhood. Hung's words struck Tieu like a bolt of lightning, leaving her frozen in disbelief, her heart twisting in pain at the cruel reality. From here, countless questions arise. Why did their biological mother leave? Where is she now? How is she living? And does she still remember the two children she abandoned? What challenges will Officer Hung face next, as he struggles to uphold a demanding job while confronting one family upheaval after another? As for Hoai, will she have the courage to stay by Hung's side and weather the storms with him, or will she choose to walk away to protect her own heart? Meanwhile, Ha and Du, both harboring special feelings for Hoai, quietly plot to win her over. In the midst of tangled relationships and the weight of the past, what choice will Hoai make? Stay tuned for today's full episode to uncover thrilling twists, heart-stopping moments, and tender scenes that touch the soul. Don't miss a single detail. Every moment is a vital piece of the puzzle that will reveal the complete, emotional picture of this story. These past few days, with family matters piling up and endless errands to run, Hung has barely had time to see Hoai. Their phone calls have grown infrequent, and their messages reduced to hurried check-ins. That absence sometimes leaves Hoai feeling adrift, but she understands and sympathizes with the weight Hung is carrying. Meanwhile, at Ha's home, after a long period working away, he has finally returned. Upon hearing that Tony was ill, Ha devoted nearly all his time to the boy, gently feeding him spoonfuls of porridge, wiping the sweat from his forehead, soothing him when he grew restless. Ha's mother was no less attentive, caring for Tony as if he were her own grandchild, cooking nourishing meals, tucking a blanket over him when the air turned cool, and sitting by his side to tell simple yet heartwarming stories. For Hoai, the presence of these two mothers, Ha's own mother, and Ha himself with his constant, brotherly concern, brought an unfamiliar but deeply comforting warmth to her heart. That small home brimmed with laughter, the fragrant aroma of home-cooked meals drifting from the kitchen, and the tender gazes of people who truly loved Tony. The boy felt it too, his face brighter, his innocent smile appearing more often, as if the weariness of illness had faded away. In the midst of life's storms, this moment was like a rare, peaceful pause, a place where Hoai and Tony could find a taste of simple happiness, even though many challenges still awaited them ahead. Today, Hoai decided to return to her old house, a place that held countless bittersweet memories, to tidy up the garden. The rows of corn she had once painstakingly planted, eagerly waiting for harvest, now stood as nothing more than withered stalks. She wanted to clear them away, pull out the weeds, loosen the soil, and prepare fresh rows to plant vegetables for the coming season. Ha, the man who had always quietly cared for and helped her, didn't hesitate to roll up his sleeves. Without many words, he simply gathered a hoe, a spade, gloves, and walked beside Hoai down the familiar path toward the house. The late afternoon breeze carried the faint smell of cooking fires from nearby homes, adding a gentle peace to the scene. But just as they turned into the narrow lane leading to the gate, a familiar figure appeared. It was Du. He leaned casually against his motorbike, his eyes lighting up the moment he saw Hoai. Du, a man who had silently watched over her not only out of love but also because of a blood bond, was, in fact, Tony's biological father. In Du's gaze was a glimmer of happiness at seeing Hoai and Tony healthy, but beneath it lay a deep longing, that someday, the three of them might live together again under one roof, as a true family. Stepping forward, his voice was warm yet gentle. Hoai, I just want you to know, I've always wished for your happiness. If possible, I hope I can be by your side and Tony's, to make up for the years I've missed. Hoai lowered her head slightly, her expression tinged with hesitation. She knew Du's sincerity, but her heart had long belonged to Hung. Softly yet firmly, she repeated the same refusal she had given before. Her steady gaze told Du that her feelings would not change, no matter how long he waited. Ha stood quietly nearby, observing the exchange. The air between the three of them grew heavy, yet there remained a subtle thread of mutual respect, a complex bond that none of them could easily sever. Today, when Du caught sight of Hoai and Ha walking into the old garden to tidy it up, an indescribable feeling welled up inside him. It wasn't exactly anger, but somewhere within was a trace of jealousy and regret. He had once hoped that if he were patient enough, attentive enough, Hoai would open her heart and give him a chance. But now, the sight of her walking alongside Ha, their steps slow and gentle, exchanging quiet words, made his chest tighten as if he had just lost something precious. Du took a deep breath, trying to keep his voice steady as he approached. Forcing a natural smile, he greeted them both. It's been a while since I've seen you back at the old place. Here to do some gardening today? After a few lines of polite conversation, Du unexpectedly offered to join in. Before coming, he had arranged for a delivery of brand new bricks, neatly stacked by the gate. Gesturing toward them, he explained. I thought since you were planning to plant vegetables, you might like these to line the beds. They'll look nice, make it easier to care for, and help keep the soil from washing away when it rains. Hoai was momentarily surprised, her expression softening. She smiled in thanks, not only for the unexpected gift but also for Du's thoughtfulness. He still remembered every little preference, every small detail she had once shared. Yet, in her heart, her feelings for him never went beyond respect. Her love had long been devoted to Hung, and no matter how much Du cared, she could not return it in kind. Du wanted to stay, to work alongside Hoai and Ha until the garden was complete. He imagined the three of them gardening together, laughing like a true family, a scene he had often wished for. But a sudden urgent phone call broke the moment. His expression shifted slightly as he answered, then he quickly apologized. I have to go take care of something urgent. Please take care of yourself, and don't overwork. With that, he stepped quickly to his motorbike. The engine's hum faded into the distance, leaving behind a stillness filled only with the evening breeze and the rustle of leaves. Now, only Ha and Hoai remained in the garden. They quietly set to work without needing many words. Ha carefully laid each brick in place, while Hoai used a spade to mound the soil, straightening the rows. Each time their eyes met, they exchanged a faint smile, a small gesture that was enough to chase away fatigue. The sound of the hoe breaking soil and the bricks knocking together formed a steady rhythm, blending with the calls of birds returning to their nests. The scent of fresh earth mixed with dry leaves and the faint perfume of wildflowers along the fence, filling the air with a peaceful warmth. They worked until the sun was nearly hidden behind the rooftops, the golden light spilling across the garden, bathing it in a gentle glow. Sweat dotted Ha's forehead, but he seemed entirely at ease, even joyful, like a child. For him, this was more than gardening. It was a rare and precious moment spent by Hoai's side, creating something new together. Hoai looked at the neat rows of soil and felt a quiet, indescribable warmth rise within her. She felt grateful to Ha, not just for his ready hands, but for his steady, enduring presence. With him beside her, she didn't feel alone, and that brought her a silent yet profound comfort. Somewhere deep in her heart, this moment etched itself into memory, a peaceful afternoon with sunlight, shared smiles, and someone quietly by her side, offering no grand promises yet always making her feel protected. For Hung, this period has been nothing short of a long, heavy stretch of dark days. It all began with a massive debt, one caused by his own mother, that, though not his fault, still fell squarely on his shoulders to resolve. The crushing financial burden eventually forced him to sell the home filled with so many memories. Now, Hung has no choice but to take shelter in an old, run-down house offered by a kind friend, a place where the tin roof rattles in every storm, the walls are peeling, and the furnishings are sparse. Yet, it's the only spot where he can lay his head at night. Just days ago, Hung had finally mustered the courage to reveal to his younger sister, Tieu, a truth he had kept locked away for many years. He spoke of their mother, or rather, their stepmother, the woman they had called Mom for the past 20 years. When they were still very young, their biological mother had left. Not long after, she came into their father's life, a woman with no children of her own. At first, she cared for the siblings with genuine tenderness, as if trying to fill the void of motherly love they had been denied. But over the years, that affection became overshadowed by an overpowering sense of control. She wanted everything to go exactly as she dictated, whether it was their education, careers, friendships, or relationships. In her eyes, Hung and Tieu were her children, in an absolute sense, and that meant following her decisions without question. She especially held the conviction that Hoai was unworthy of Hung. Time and again, she expressed her disapproval, sometimes harshly, claiming Hoai could not give him a better future. The same pattern played out with Tieu. As soon as she came of age, their stepmother began steering her toward relationships she deemed appropriate, often ignoring her true feelings. Hung had often wanted to rebel, to take control of his own life. But every time, the tearful eyes and guilt-laden reproaches from her would stop him in his tracks. Part of it was gratitude, she had raised him from childhood, but another part was the weight of emotional indebtedness, the fear that defying her would render all those years of care meaningless. Now, with debt, the loss of his home, an unstable living situation, and deep-rooted family conflicts all converging at once, Hung feels like he's standing at a crossroads. He must shoulder the financial responsibility while also confronting a hard truth. If he truly wants happiness, he may have to find the courage to stand up and make his own choices, even if that means disappointing the woman who raised him. The family troubles had barely begun to settle when another blow struck. That afternoon, Hung was sitting in his old, run-down house, staring at the stack of documents piled high on the table, when his phone buzzed. On the other end was the voice of his superior, stern, concise. Hung, report to headquarters immediately. There's something important. Minutes later, he was standing in the office. The atmosphere that day was unusually heavy. His superior looked him straight in the eye before speaking. There's a new directive from above. You and another officer will be reassigned to a unit in another province, about 130 kilometers from here. The words landed like a hammer blow. Hung froze, not because he feared the challenges of the new post, but because that distance would make it nearly impossible for him to stay close to and care for Hoai, the woman he constantly worried about and loved. 130 kilometers meant each visit would take an entire day of travel, and his demanding work schedule would rarely allow such trips. Hung tried to keep his composure, but inside, everything was in turmoil. Summoning all his courage, he pleaded with his superior to reconsider, even suggesting that someone else be sent in his place so he could remain at his current post. His voice dropped low, almost begging. Sir, I have personal matters. I humbly request the unit's understanding and support. But the only response was a firm shake of the head. This was an order from higher authorities, and no one had the authority to override it. Still unwilling to give up, Hung drafted a formal petition to stay, laying out his family situation, his work responsibilities, and the personal difficulties he faced. Yet, it all came to nothing. Leaving the office, Hung walked slowly down the empty road. The sky was overcast, dark clouds gathering as if to herald an incoming storm. Each step felt unbearably heavy, whether from sadness, worry for the future, or the persistent image of Hoai filling his mind. The reassignment order felt like an invisible rope pulling him away from everything he wanted to protect. Hung sat in silence inside the old, worn-down house he was temporarily borrowing from a close friend. The place lay tucked at the end of a narrow alley, its walls blotched with yellow stains, the roof tiles misaligned, and the iron door groaning whenever the wind slipped through. Inside, there were only a few meager possessions: a rickety wooden table, a couple of plastic chairs, a creaky iron bed, and a lone bulb casting a dim yellow light that revealed his haggard face and bloodshot eyes from countless sleepless nights. Lately, the blows had come one after another, like relentless waves crashing against the shore, giving him no chance to regain his footing. His work, the career he had devoted his youth to, the duty he had sacrificed so much for, was now forcing him into a suffocating choice. The reassignment order had been issued, and if he accepted, he would have to move to a post over 100 kilometers away. That would mean no more afternoons dropping by to see Hoai, no more evenings delivering her a warm meal or exchanging a few precious words. If he refused, he would have to face the risk of losing his job, his only source of income, while the crushing weight of his family's debts clung to him like an unshakable shadow. Between these two crossroads, duty and love, Hung felt as if he were being torn in half. On one side was the responsibility and discipline he had sworn to uphold. On the other was Hoai, the woman he had given his whole heart to, the one who made him believe that no matter how fierce the storms, he could keep walking as long as she was by his side. Yet what he feared most was not the hardship or the distance, but the slow drift that might follow, conversations growing scarce, physical miles turning into emotional space, and love eroding quietly with time. Outside, the night wind howled, slipping through the gaps in the iron door and making it tremble with a low, mournful hum. In the empty room, Hung bowed his head low, fingers tightly interlaced. He was searching for a way out, yet deep down he knew, at this stage, every path before him was lined with thorns. So, how will Hung find a way to overcome the storms closing in from both his work and his family? Will he accept the reassignment order, putting hundreds of kilometers between himself and Hoai, in order to keep his job? Or will he take the risk of staying, facing the possibility of losing everything? Will that distance become an unbridgeable wall between two hearts so deeply entwined, or will it serve as a test that makes their love even stronger? And Hoai, the woman who has always been there, quietly waiting and believing, will she have the resolve to walk with him through the long days apart, or will another twist of fate force them down separate paths? In the long, sleepless nights inside the old house, Hung knows he cannot stand still forever. The storms will come, but he must choose for his career, for his love, and for his own future. And sometimes, a single decision can change the course of an entire life. Everything still lies ahead. Will Hung and Hoai hold on to each other's hands and move forward, or will they be forced to let go under the weight of unrelenting trials? The answer will unfold in the next chapters. Stay tuned, because every detail to come will be a vital piece of the puzzle of their fate, where every choice carries a price no one could have foreseen.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Thì hôm nay mình tiếp tục đưa đến với mọi người câu chuyện của mẹ đơn thân Lý Hoài Ca và cảnh sát Hùng nha mọi người. Như mọi người cũng đã biết thì mẹ đơn thân Lý Hoài Ca và cảnh sát Hùng thì đã gặp rất là nhiều khó khăn trong cái quá trình yêu nhau. Tuy nhiên thì cả hai đang cố gắng để có thể vượt qua khó khăn vào bên nhau. Cảnh sát Hùng thì thời gian gần đây cuộc sống của anh rất là nhiều bộn bề. Vì ngoài những chuyện liên quan tới gia đình và mẹ mình, anh phải gánh một khoản nợ khổng lồ và sau đó còn phải bán nhà và vay mượn khắp nơi để trả nợ cho mẹ mình. Thì anh cũng đã tiết lộ sự thật về mẹ mình với Tiểu San là em gái của anh về việc bà ấy không phải là mẹ ruột. Bây giờ thì anh còn bị luân chuyển công tác đi một nơi khác. Điều này khiến Hùng rất là hoang mang vì anh muốn ở đây, ở gần Hoài ca để có thể bảo vệ cho anh. Tuy nhiên điều này lại khiến cho Hùng rơi vào đau khổ. Vậy thì liệu mọi chuyện sẽ diễn ra như thế nào? Mời mọi người đón xem video tiếp theo nhé.